there's no Pimpy. Pimpy's having some computer issues. And so in the meantime, while we wait for him, I've got lots to talk to you about. So before I get started, I want to make sure that I have YouTube and Facebook in front of me, just in case you guys have questions, I'll be able to see them. And so for now, what I'm trying to elongate this because I would like for Pimpy to be here from the beginning. But if that doesn't happen, that's fine. We can always have him join us as soon as he gets here. So what I'll do right now is I'll start the recording for BitChute and the podcast. And then when Pimpy starts, well, you know what? I really like how Pimpy dances. So what we'll do is we'll trim this off, and we don't want to keep him from dancing. So he said that he is having some computer problems. He's restarting his computer, and he will join us in a few. So Robert, what do you think? Should I start the recording now and then pause it when he gets in? What should I do?
It sounds like you're saying you would like to wait and have the full podcast with him be a part of it.
Yeah, I would like to do that because I know that many of his followers...
We'll wait for him to join, and then we'll start the podcast with the recording.
Yes. And so I've got Brooke saying, hopefully he'll join soon. Yes, we all want Pimpy to join as soon as possible. He is, it's almost like the patient waiting for the doctor for surgery. So let me, got things ready. You know what? We could do the theme song for him so that he can dance. But for now, let's just, I'm just going to start the recording. We'll start without the theme song. And then when he arrives, we'll do the theme song because everybody had to say something about Pimpy's dancing, and we can't deny ourselves that. So
you're going to start the recording, and then when he gets there,
we'll start the show.
You'll give me the cue, and we'll start the intro.
We'll start the show because there's some stuff that I need to talk about anyway. So, so here we go. Okay, we're doing things a little bit different because it may turn out that Pimpy won't be able to join us, but we are very hopeful. I trust in God that that Pimpy will be able to join. He's having some computer issues. He normally does this from his phone, but whenever he does it from his phone, there's like a delay in his when he says something and his mannerism. So he was trying to do something different that kind of possibly may have backfired, but it doesn't matter. We are here and we are together, and I'm really excited to do this because there are some things that I can do now that normally I do towards the end of the middle of the classroom, and we can just do now. So what I do want to talk to you about is people. I want to talk to you for those of you who feel stuck, who feel confused, who feel that there's no hope, who feel that you have not achieved what you've wanted to in life. I want to talk to you if you want to improve what you have, because you feel good about what you have right now, but you want to improve a little more. With everything that is happening in the world right now, there's a lot of uncertainty, and we want to keep this momentum going of just growing and flowing with life. But there's some things and some decisions that we may have to make in the future that has to do with taking a stand. As you know, we are doing the New Truth series Bible study with Dr. Lorraine Day called the Book of Revelations. So it's a New Truth series, Book of Revelations with Dr. Lorraine Day. And she has been instrumental in my life, and now I know she's been instrumental in yours. And we are studying the end of times. So if these are the end of times, then our number one goal is to get our mindset and our heart in line with God's plan for us, without saying. And if you guys have any comments about this, you're welcome to share, because many of you have not even considered what God has to say during these times, because we're so focused on all the commotion that's happening in the world. So that distraction could be a ploy to keep us from seeing what God wants us to do and how God wants us to be, and the real God, not the God of the church, but the God of the Bible. So I want to encourage you that if you want to deep in that relationship or are curious about that relationship, then I would like to encourage you to go to New Truth Series. Well, actually, whenyounneedafriend.com, and then click on to the book of the New Truth Series, and then you'll find all the information there with Dr. Lorraine Day. And don't worry that we've started already, because all the videos are recorded, so you can catch up and join us as we continue to grow together. Now, while doing this Bible study, it became very apparent that many of us are still holding on to our ways, and our ways are not necessarily God's ways. And now more than ever before, I have returned to my prayer life that used to be, God, if this isn't for me, I don't want it. Take it away. God, if this is for me, make it happen. I will do all that I can to make it happen, but I need for you to help me see that my efforts are moving because this is your plan, not necessarily my plan. So because I've seen this conflict within all of us, I am doing the New Truth series. I am the solution. I and God am the solution. And so what is this workshop? It's a weekend workshop. It starts on Friday and ends on Sunday. And we'll have an opportunity to take out our soul shovels and dig until there's only truth. Only truth. And so, hey, if Brooke, if you are watching, if you can just text Pimpy and let him know just to get on his phone, because I know that that's better than nothing. So the New Truth series, I Am the Solution, is about this. It is about changing the mindset, because more and more of you are going, I can't give this up. I don't want to do this. What if this is God's plan, but I don't want this for me? So that mindset of wanting more, or creating something better, or uniting with the soul, which is who you are, learning that your past traumas are not necessarily who you are, but these past traumas that are unresolved could potentially be illnesses that have been diagnosed in your life. If you have a heart condition, it could be that somebody hurt you, hurt your heart, broke your heart. I know of some people that have experienced issues with their thyroid. I am one of them, where I didn't have a voice. And so there are different parts of our body that store these traumas in our life, and they manifest, if they go unresolved, into issues that a doctor might say, it's your body talking to you, but a doctor will say, oh, it's a symptom, here's a pill. That's a symptom, here's a pill. So if you are feeling discontentment in your life at this current time, then this is the workshop for you. If you're just happy and your life is perfect, then this is the workshop for you, because even in your perfection, things could get better. Because we don't know what we don't know. So I want to encourage all of you to be a part of that. And Robert, also make sure that you text Brooke, just in case she's not on, to reach out to Pimpy, please. So these are things that happen in life that you just have to go with the flow. So the question is today, how much do you trust? How much do you trust that organically you will discover what God wants for you? Or will you commit to doing some personal growth, to discovering what else is in you that needs to come out? Many of us don't want to look at that. Many of us don't want to look at the fact that there's been pain in our past, and in our mind, we've resolved it, we've forgiven or whatever, but we haven't resolved it. There are certain ways that you can resolve it, because maybe that emotion makes you feel like a victim. Maybe you were a victim as a child. But even though you think that that's not an important event in your life, it could still be controlling you. There have been times where I have spoken to people that have felt that have shared a story. One particular story I want to share was a massage therapist. There was a massage therapist that the whole entire time, when she found out I was a life coach, the whole entire time, she was telling me about something that happened. Now, I should have charged her for this massage, but I did not. I listened to her, gave her advice, and when she told me, I said, when was the last time you saw this person? And she said, 12 years ago. I had to use everything within me to absolutely 100% not blast her and say, what? You took away my massage because of something that happened 12 years ago? Can any of you relate to that? Can any of you be the person who's telling the story that happened 20, 30, 40 years ago? Things that you've done that you have not been able to forgive. Things that have happened to you that you have not been able to reconcile. You don't need to have that person in front of you to give you the okay. You don't have to give you, you don't have to do anything other than be with you and God. And when I mention God, who appears? Pimpy. So he is, I am telling you, Pimpy, I am so excited. I have been talking about everything that's happening that we are going to be doing in November. So let me finish up here. Go ahead and mute yourself while you're getting organized here, Pimpy.
Sure.
Okay. So are you organized?
Yeah, I'm organized. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. Okay.
So I tried to install that little camera and it didn't work quite the way I wanted it to. Sorry about that.
No problem. No problem. We're good. We're good. Let me just finish up here. So for those of you who want to learn more about the workshop on November 13th, 14th, and 15th, let me know. Send me an email at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. We're going to be posting it on the New Truth series. And go to whenyouneedafriend.com, click on to the New Truth series, and there's going to be information there coming soon. And then we can plan on that weekend being for you and God. That way you can resolve any past issues, anything that's going on in your life that you would like to resolve so that you can start living the life of your dreams. Now that we have Pimpy, let me just go ahead and stop. Robert, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the camera here. And so that way I don't know, maybe this will be, I don't know. I'm just going to stop it.
Recording.
The recording. Yeah. Yes, the recording. Yeah. And then I'm going to start it over again. And now that Pimpy is in the house.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord. You had me like biting my nails. But
no, I tried the new little camera. I was like, oh, it seems to, I think it works. It's not working. And I thought, well, I want to get up in the morning. I tried fiddling with it, and next thing you know, time is flying by. And I was like, oh, man, you don't realize how much time is flowing by. And I go, I can't do it. I have to just go the way I did it originally. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. It looks like you got a better place. But so today we're going to talk about the questions that you had for NESARA. We had Pimpy here for about a month ago, about 2 months ago, maybe a month or two ago. And we talked about NESARA and GESARA, and many of you had questions. So Pimpy said, I'll come back and I'll answer some of the questions that you have, but there's a lot of stuff going on right now. And Pimpy's been working overtime on this and like putting out all these videos and keeping us informed. So fasten your seatbelt because we're going to learn and grow together. I've been waiting for you so that we can dance together. So here we go. It's time to dance.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here waiting for you.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in to the classroom for the first time, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today we are starting off, let's see, a little bit late, but I'm glad that all of you are here. And Robert, if you want to post this on the two groups for Pimpy, because that's what we did last time, which are the hidden things in front of your eyes and Pimpy's investment chat. So about two months ago or so, Pimpy was in the classroom teaching us about NESARA. And NESARA stands for National Economic Security and Reformation Act. And so there's a lot of buzz about this, and there are a lot of questions about, will it happen? Will it not happen? You know, there's a lot of people saying that it's been signed by Trump. No, it has not. This is something that I've done even more research since then, and I want to revisit. Last time we just dipped our toe, but today we have Pimpy back because he's the one that made me aware of this, as well as my brother. And we are going to talk about this because it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge. And I am so grateful that my friend Lee Freeman, also known as Pimpy, is here to do just that. Welcome back, Pimpy, to the classroom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
Very good. So it started off like, what was that book when we were children? It was like Backwards Day, or everything was a it was like Wayside Stories that we used to read that to my children. So maybe it was when my kids were younger. So catch us up. What is going on with you? You are like everywhere.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers usually cover one subject or so. But it just so happens that I'm covering multiple subjects, and the subjects that I cover, of course, need constant monitoring because we're looking for updates all the time. Of course, the precious metals market is big. The global currency reset is a big topic. We got the currencies, Iraqi dinar, the Vietnam dong are big news. And of course, NESARA, GESARA. And I was noticing as I was covering them as time went on, they're starting to overlap one another, or intersect, I should say, with one another. And so this month, October, especially right here in the middle of the month, there is a lot of things happening for all these particular subjects all at that same time. And so there's a lot of expectations, or I should say more like speculation on what's going to happen. And so I'm trying to make sure that I cover all that because it's not easy to do. Just to make sure that whenever the news comes out, we make sure to get it out as soon as possible.
Yes, and you do, and you are like reading like a maniac.
Yeah.
You're just like, but today I do want to talk about some of the things that's happening, that current events that we are going to get to now. When you reposted the last show that we were on, or the last class that you were teaching here, you had lots of comments. I looked at most of them. There were a lot of comments, but there were some things that after our time together and some of the questions I asked, I felt like I needed to learn more about how this NESARA started, because NESARA is national, right. GESARA is global. But we're just, because there's so much to talk about, we're just focusing on national right now. Yeah. So as I was reading about this, Pimpy, I realized that this is something that came from a long time ago, back in the 1990s, that was brought to our attention, that there were certain things that were missing. Like, for example, I think it was Harvey Francis Bernard proposed that we needed to replace the income tax, national sales tax, and abolish compound interest on secured loans, and returning to the gold standard, the gold and silver standard, and also removing inflation, or that this would actually remove inflation and create a stable economy. This apparently was passed in Congress, was it not?
Well, here's the thing. So it was not passed in Congress, and what I mean by that is it would have been implemented by now. You can pass some things in Congress and it not get past the Senate, or you could pass some things in the Senate and it not get past the House, I guess is the best way to put it. So when we're talking about NESARA, GESARA, you got to understand that there's all kinds of different versions of it. You know what I mean? And that's the one thing I try to do. That's when we talk about the most common questions, is people are like, you know, why are there so many different versions? Why are some more extreme than another? But what the part you're talking about is, to me, part of the more grounded version of this. And we know that, well, since Trump's been in office, there's been this push for that very part you're talking about. People don't understand this when it comes to like things like mortgages. You know, back in older days when we did mortgages, what would happen is you would go in and you would see if you could qualify for a house. You paid a bank fee. There was no interest on the loans. We didn't have credit cards back then. These are all the things they're talking about, going back to sound money, getting away from those very things that have enslaved people, getting away from credit card debt. Look, either you can afford it or you can't. Actually, we're starting to see companies like, just to get slightly sidetracked, companies like Walmart going back to, I don't know if you remember this. Remember layaways?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, again, that's, you can make your payments, but there's no interest involved. I think there's a slight fee for doing it, but not interest. So, you know, you make payments until you can pay off the balance that you owe to pick up all the things you want, which to me, I like, and it was really beneficial for poor people, to be quite honest. So it keeps you away from these outrageous interest rates on cards, going back to the way home loans used to be, going back to the way auto loans used to be, getting us out of this this vicious circle of the way money is being handled these days. Again, getting away from those very things that entrap us. Student loans with interest rates. You know what I mean? Just home loans, interest rates, car loans, interest rates, getting away from all that credit cards. Either you can afford it or you can't afford it. So everything's going to be big. And now they're talking about doing away with the credit scoring altogether, which in my opinion is an awesome idea because it penalizes the poor people. It doesn't affect the rich people. So if you have a bad credit score, they charge you more interest, which is the opposite of what should happen. But yeah, so you can see all these things. What you're talking about is sound money. Mm-hmm. Going back to sound money is what it is. And probably now more than ever, we see that not just here in the United States, but the world is saying, look, we got to get away from the US dollar being the international reserve currency and going back to sound money. I did a video last night on the fact that, you know, people are not paying attention, but China now is kind of turned away from buying gold. They have plenty of gold. They're now gobbling up silver everywhere. And so what does that mean? Yeah, you know, we know we're going to a reset, some type of currency reset, some kind of monetary reset. There's no doubt about it. But like Williams was saying last night in the video, look, we know we're going into the reset. But now it's being expedited. It's happening much faster than people had anticipated. When you start seeing China stop focusing on gold and start focusing now on gobbling up silver, and they are doing it at a very fast increase rate. Just since this month, they started already. The amount of gold that they're buying from around the world is unbelievable. What are they doing? They're going to push for gold back yuan is what it is. And so they're pushing us in that direction, which is sound money. I think everybody agrees around the world. You know, you're starting to see this push for people to go back to sound money. They're tired of the way things are, and the banking system is very corrupt, and we're trying to get away from that.
Okay. And so then what I researched was that George Bush President Clinton had signed it to be effective on September 1st, 2001 at 10 a.m. That is what I was reading on, and there was even a talk, and I got that from the treasury.gov of President Clinton talking about this, that got passed and he signed, but it was going to be effective on September 1st, 2001, right?
Yeah, so we see a lot of these things, just so you're aware. So there are some things that are presented to government. There are bills that are presented, and you'll see them on these official websites. And then what I find a lot of times is when you go in there, you have to go to, it tells you where the different stages are. In this case, I'm not sure about this one, but you know, a lot of times what happens, these things are introduced. NESARA, GESARA was introduced. All right. But what you do is if you go down to find out where they're at, did it ever get finalized? You find out it never actually got finalized. And you know, we want to make sure that if we go to that website and you're looking at any bill or any law that people are claiming has been passed, we want to see that it's been passed by the House, passed by Senate, and then signed by President. And that's what we got to look for. I can't tell you how many times these people talk about the Gold Reform Act as being used. Well, this treaty was signed, a gold treaty. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? Then sure enough, the gold treaty is there, but then you find out it never went anywhere. And then what we see is the gold treaty petition being passed around, and people use that as a form of, you know, hey, this is law now. No, that's not the law. You guys got to look at it all the way through. Yeah, the petition's now being pushed for that. But I think that's where we are. If Clinton did it, and, you know, again, everything magically always happens to stop around, obviously, September of 2001, if you ever notice that. You know, NESARA, GESARA was supposed to be passed, but then all of a sudden 9/11. Yeah. This reform was supposed to happen, but all of a sudden, you know, 9/11. It's like not everything can be blamed on 9/11. It's convenient, of course, but again, sound money is where we're going back to. There's no doubt about it. Whether the United States wants to or not, I think other countries are gonna they're gonna push us in that direction, or we're gonna start it. One of the two.
Yeah, I keep saying September 1st, but it's September 11th.
Yeah.
So but okay. So with that in mind, there was a lot of people that had questions too. Did you find that after our conversation that you had a lot of questions on your end from your viewers?
Yeah, but mine are, because this is the topic that I touch on a lot. Mine tend to be this most common questions all the time. Where is the official NESARA, GESARA law? That's why I have to constantly explain to people that, okay, there is no actual NESARA, GESARA law that was passed. There is no actual NESARA, GESARA bill, okay, that was passed, is what I need to emphasize. So what I tell people to stop focusing so much probably on the name NESARA, GESARA, focus on the items that are on a list. And the reason for that is if you look at the items that are on this list, you can see that a lot of these have already been done. So is NESARA, GESARA possible? Yeah, not only is it possible, but I show you that's already happening. For the most part, most of the things on the list have either already happened or in the process of happening. The ones that I can prove anyways. And what you'll notice is that they have not started to happen until Trump got in office. So whether that's just a quidinkydink or he's aware of this and he's following this list. Again, I don't want people to be discouraged because there's no official NESARA, GESARA bill. I don't care what they call it. What's most important is, did you see the items on the list? Because that's what people should be focusing on. So that's the one thing people are like, where is this bill? I can't find it. That's common all the time.
And let me just go back because maybe people are tuning in today that weren't in the original broadcast. The NESARA, GESARA, some of the major things are forgiveness of debt, abolishing income tax, abolishing the IRS, increasing benefits to senior citizen, returns to constitutional law, which is very important to protect our rights. Establishing presidential and congressional elections within 120 days after signing or announcement of the NESARA, which hasn't happened yet. And, you know, I've had so many people tell me that it has happened and that the 120 days are going to be like right before the election. And that's not true. There's lot of misconception. Yeah.
Yes, there's no proof. That's like everybody saying, well, these people have been arrested and there's a bunch of clones running around. That kind of stuff drives me insane. I'm like, okay, you know, you have to keep people grounded, but it's also very scary that there's that many people out there just in their communities that really listen to other YouTubers and really deep down believe that these clones are running around there. Now, the irony of this, of course, is I did 2 videos proving that cloning is legitimate. But do I think a bunch of people are running around that are cloned? No. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible, but it's unrealistic.
What do you mean? What do you mean with clone? What do you mean by that? I mean, people that are like lookalikes that are acting like a particular person? What?
Well, you know, we all know that if you're a Q follower, whether they believe in Q or not, it doesn't matter. Here's the thing. It's a movement and the movement's big. It's like NESARA, GESARA. People say, well, they're hoaxes. I go, what does it make a difference now if they're hoaxes or not? The point is, it started a movement that needs to be addressed or that is being addressed. So under the Q movements, Q would drop these posts and then you get these people out there who exaggerate on the meanings of the post and they take them to this whole new level. We got people out there saying, oh, you know, this list of politicians, these list of actors have already been tried, found for pedophilia, treason, the whole 9 yards. They've been executed. And now what we see on TV is their clones. And I was like, ugh.
Wow. Okay.
No.
So there's a lot of things that need to happen before, but there are maybe circumstantial evidence or maybe anecdotal evidence for NESARA, GESARA. But the reality is there's a lot of people out there, you know, when it comes to Iraqi dinar, you talked about the Vietnam Dong. There's a lot of current events with President Trump. So
Yes.
I normally don't talk about politics here. I normally don't, but this is the first time that everything is meshing together, whether it's wearing a mask or whether you're, you know, think one way or another. You know, we're all being divided in so many different directions, whether depending on the color of your skin. And now there's hate. And if you don't believe a certain way, then they're gonna push you into submission, censorship. There's so many things that are happening right now that's causing me a lot of concern. However,
well, that's the agenda of the Great Reset. You got to understand that literally is all the things. Again, whether people believe in the New World Order, it doesn't matter. The globalist agenda, I guess, is another name for them. But this so-called globalist agenda, this New World Order agenda, has this thing from the World Economic Forum called the Great Reset. I've done plenty of videos calling them out on this movement. It's just ironic that they said they've been planning this for 50 years. And in there, they talk about racial equality, wealth equality. So the more you look into this, the more you start to realize that this Black Lives Matter movement, this Antifa movement are all part of this plan. So this is planned out, whether people want to believe it or not.
No, it is.
It's because it's worldwide. It's not just here, and people can't explain. Again, you start getting into these touchy areas. So here we go. Nobody in their right mind can explain to us how it is that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were organized within a half hour of the announcement of George Floyd's death worldwide. They had rocks out, mocktail cocktails, they had it all.
They had little stations, yeah.
Not just in the United States, but around the world. The UK, Australia, Chile, it was everywhere. And then all of a sudden you had cops within 3 days all doing the same thing. What I mean by that, George Floyd with the knee on the back wasn't the only one. There was a similar incident that happened in the UK, one that happened in Australia, one that happened in Chile, all within 3 days. What are the statistical odds that you get a white cop sticking a knee on the back of a black man and that person end up dying? Now we're finding out that George Floyd had 5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl. So it was the drugs that killed him, but that doesn't make a difference. Any and all.
If he's dead.
Yeah.
Because there's also that theory too.
Yeah.
That
And
this was a paid actors. They're called crisis actors. And I'm not trying to discredit that, please.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying that there are so many different perspectives out there. And me as a reporter, I need to bring these to you so that you know that there could be a level of stage acting. So to take away, it's a distraction. It's just a distraction with what's happening.
Well, it serves an agenda. You know what I mean? It serves the agenda. iPods, which is in pursuit of the truth, did 3 videos called The Weather Underground. Unfortunately, YouTube removed them today. His videos were phenomenal. I think he's on BitChute and other things too. You guys got to look him up.
What's it called?
If you guys,
iPods?
Yeah, iPod, IPOT, or In Pursuit of Truth. His videos, he's one hell of an investigator. His videos are phenomenal. But the ones you want to watch, he's got 3 videos on The Weather Underground and how the Weather Underground, which is Bill Ayers, got together with George Soros, and they're all part of this push for one world government, and that one world economy is a socialist agenda. It's real. It's there.
It's socialist or communist? Is it socialist?
Well, it starts off socialist as always, which pushes you into communism. So that's the thing you got to explain to people. What you're seeing now has been attempted before in the 60s. I did a video showing you guys from a 1960s filming of a gentleman talking about a book that was written by a black gentleman who embraced communism because he thought it was good for the black people. And then over time, he realized, no, it's not good at all. As a matter of fact, it's bad for black people. So this has been attempted before. But if you go in there and you watch that video, what the man says is disturbing. He said, what the guy's talking about in the book is this, that what they'll do is they'll use cops and blame them for everything so they can use it to stir up the masses, that we shouldn't persecute cops without first seeing what the evidence is and going through there, that you're going to see protests that happen where they go out and they riot and they loot and they burn buildings down. He goes on there. I mean, everything that's happening now, this guy said in the 60s, they tried it before. Everything on there, you're going to go, well, that's what's happening now. That's the same exact thing that's happening now. So this isn't the first time. Even in the book, the guy said it was attempted much earlier. What communism found is the one thing that there's a what they called a flaw in the fabric of America. And that is we are diversified. We do have multiple races, but that racism, due to our history of dealing with slavery, is a very touchy subject. And they can use that to play on emotions of black people and cause and sow division in there, and then use that opportunity to push a different agenda. Now, most of these black studies that you see right now push socialism. We're seeing that now. So China has spent millions of dollars to infiltrate our country. They infiltrated our educational institutions. They infiltrated our movies now. They infiltrated entertaining. Look at the NBA. Professional sports painting Black Lives Matter on the court. You know, this is all part of their agenda. So they'll take a knee against our anthem, but then turn around and stick up for communist China. So people saw that, and they had the worst ratings in the history of the NBA during the playoffs. And it's not just there. What are we seeing for the past 4 years? And they want to blame Trump, but this isn't Trump's fault.
So I shared this with you the last time we were on the air in the classroom, that when David Icke was on, he said this is classic Marxism. Yeah. So they take everything that goes wrong and they blame it on one person as if this has never happened before. But this is also part of mind control. You know, I know that we're supposed to talk about NESARA today, but I think this conversation needs to happen. I think this needs to happen because we're coming up to an election where, if you know that we're doing the Bible study with Dr. Day. According to Dr. Day, this is rigged, this is fixed. There's nothing we can do. According to
well, there is you could do. You could be aware of it, educate others, and not tolerate it.
But
You know what I mean?
but the way things are, people don't even want to do anything to get uncomfortable. When somebody looks at socialism as the way, an answer, they obviously just want, we're going to lose creativity. We're going to, just get whatever, and we're not going to be able to get outside of the box because we're going to be enslaved in the box.
No, that's exactly right. And already using it. So the Rona was the be all end all. And you could tell that's what it was, to end the use of physical money to push us into a digital currency that they control. So do you want the government really monitoring all your money? Do you want it to be all digital? So if you don't do what the government wants, they'll make every excuse in the world to cut your money off.
Already doing that in China. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're doing it in China. It's not just there, but it's also in Australia. And where's the other place? Well, one place right now is 100% digital right now. So this is all part of it's called the Great Reset. It's all in there. This was planned over the past 50 years. This is the new world order push. They know they got a short window of opportunity to try to do this. But now what's happening is you're seeing the huge, so flooding the countries with refugees, getting people in there who don't follow your same traditions and cultures, telling them that you're racist if you don't change your country. So instead of people coming into our country and acclimating to us, they want us to acclimate to them. So they tear down our statues, they tear down, rewrite our history, flood our countries with people who don't follow the same traditions and our culture. You know what I mean? They tear that all apart. They dismantle it, telling you that our country's systemically racist when it's not. But that's the thing. If you keep telling people over and over and you indoctrinate them since they're young, once they get to adults, they really do believe it. They see racism that doesn't exist. Now, keep in mind, the term racist, or the definition of racism, has now changed. The new definition of racism is anybody and anybody that stands in the way of an agenda by the minority community or speaks out against it. You're now a racist, and that includes Black people. So you see Black people being called white supremacists. Never in my life have I heard such ridiculousness. But the rise of populism around the world is interfering with this agenda, and it's interfering with the big way. These peace agreements that you see Trump doing in the Middle East is a rise, and nationalism is more what it is. Nationalism. Now, they made that an ugly word. This was done under the Obama administration. The FBI listed these words as racist terms when they're not. Being called a white nationalist or a Black nationalist has nothing to do with racism. So white would be white people taking pride in their nation. That's all it is. Black nationalism is Black people taking pride in their nation. That's all it is. But they've now managed to twist it into some racist terms, and that's what they do.
Well, that's because we're being taught to hate our country.
Yeah. Well,
and with that, okay, so I was, you and I have talked about wearing a mask, not wearing a mask. And I've been told by people, if I don't wear a mask, that I'm being disrespectful. Well, that's not disrespect. To me, disrespectful is if I flip you off, or I don't open the door for you, or I speak over you, or whatever it is. Disrespect of not wearing a mask is being, if you are educated, that the virus is between 10 and 1,000 times smaller than the smallest pore on your mask. To me, it's like trying to stop a mosquito with a chain link fence. It doesn't make sense. So if I don't wear a mask, all of a sudden I'm disrespectful. So
no, that's the way the media has got people going. Fear. They use fear. You got people shooting each other for not wearing a mask. That's not an exaggeration.
I don't believe that's true. I believe that there are actors out there, and the media is playing that, so we think this is happening. It's called mind control.
Well, okay, but either way, whether it's real or not, the fact that is out there, it serves a purpose. So either people are using this pandemic as a form of fear to control people, to keep them in their houses. So what do we see? Well, they want to crash our economy. They absolutely do, because what they want to offer to people is the first step in total control, which is universal basic income. Who doesn't want free money? Sure, let's take some free money, and I don't have to work. Hell yeah, but how do I get this money? Well, you have to sign up for a digital wallet. See what they do. They indoctrinate you or entice you into this, and you get your free money. It's a digital coin, and you can use it on the digital platform only. Well, okay, sure. How much is this? $2,000 a month? I'll take it. Free money. Who doesn't want free money? And you don't have to work, but that's how it starts. And next thing you know, everybody's away from physical money, all using digital money, and then they do away with the physical money, but now you're too late. You're trapped. You're in the digital. So if you don't do what the government wants you to do, what do? They take away your basic income. They cut your money off. You know, they'll make every excuse. Oh, we think you're a terrorist. We're going to close out your bank account.
Yes.
But meanwhile, when you're 100% digital, here's what you can't stop. If they go to negative interest rates, that means they take money out of your account. You lose money for saving. So they're going to be discouraging people from saving money. They don't want you to. They want you to be enslaved into this debt monetary way. They want you to serve is what it is, just like now. So these central bank digital coins, all this is an upgraded version of the old SWIFT system. That's all it is. But now they have way more control. Have you ever heard in your lifetime of all the outbreaks that we had that all of a sudden, here comes the Rona, but we can't touch money because you might get sick, and that the government is wasting a ton of money washing it because they don't want you to get the Rona? I say, man, do you know how many cokeheads are out there that snort cocaine? You know how many people would be dying of the Rona if it was a real threat?
Well, we already know that this is no different than the common cold. And even the CDC went back and looked at the numbers, and they discovered that only 6% of the numbers they've reported are on people without comorbidities. And even that number is kind of generous, I would say. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know. And it's what I'm hearing you say. So here's this conversation that we're having is all a distraction. It's all a distraction. You know, did you see the presidential debate? I mean, it was painful for me to watch. It's like, when in history have we seen two presidential candidates wait until like a month or two before? I mean, those debates start a year, you know, a long time ahead, more than just now. I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen the disrespect at people, you know, and how they communicate with one another just because of a different perspective. And we're all going to have a different perspective. But how do we find commonality? How do we find?
They're not going to let you find commonality. It's not going to happen. You got to understand that if people want to see that this isn't part of this new world order.
Oh, you muted yourself. Hold on a second.
Sorry about that. Okay. Somebody's trying to call. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So here it is. Joe Biden's presidential slogan is Build Back Better. Go to the Great Reset. You know what their slogan is?
Yes.
Build Back Better.
Yeah.
The policies within Joe Biden's what agenda he has out is most of it comes from the Great Reset form. It's a new world order, socialist turning into communist takeover. And he's not the only one. There's pictures of politicians around the world. Now look at Boris Johnson. Behind him, he has Build Back Better.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So there's politicians. Those are the ones that are all pushing for this agenda. All right.
Yeah, but there's a group of people that say that the Republican side and the Democratic side are all leaning towards the same direction. What do you say about that?
I think they're called Rhino Republicans. I'm not saying all of them. I don't think all of them are. I think there are some people out there who are legitimately supporters of Trump and supporters and lovers of this country. Mitt Romney is not one of them. He's a traitor. Lindsey Graham kind of, he has this way, to me, he's two-faced. I think he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. But, Grassley, I think, is a great guy. Matt Gaetz is a great guy. You know what I mean? You start looking at Jim Jordan is a great guy. Collins is a great guy. These people, what's her name? Marsha Blackburn is
Oh, she's your
these,
girl, but she's
yeah,
your girl.
yeah. So there are people out there who are not part of this movement. But yeah, I mean, the two-party system is two-party for a reason. It's easy to corrupt a two-party system. That's why they don't allow the green parties or these outside parties to be involved. It's funny how we allow the media to dictate to us who we should hear in a debate instead of pushing to have more parties out there. And we do need term limits so that people can't be corrupt. I mean, look at the people that are on the Democratic side. They're starting to become senile. Joe Biden is lost all his marbles. But did you see Nancy Pelosi that were talking to her? And the guy says, so you haven't pulled out all the feathers out of your quill. You know, are you thinking about impeachment? She's like, good morning, Sunday morning. Everybody's like, what the hell are you what do you lost your deal? Where the hell did that come from? What was that talking about?
That was a good Nancy Pelosi.
No, and then, but dude, she looked like a cuckoo clock.
Pelosi, that's awesome.
She looked like a cuckoo clock. So then, and then the other day she was talking about why they're pushing this, what is that, the 25th Amendment? And the thing was, Trump already beat him to the punch. He knew they were coming out. And so they were in there trying to explain how it needed to be redone. What it ended up looking like, it's more of an attack against Biden. That's their plan, is to remove Biden. They're like, this isn't for Trump. You know what I mean? We need the VP, because you can't get Mike Pence to turn on Trump. It's not going to happen. But here's the thing that got me. When she was trying to explain it, this is what I'm talking about. She's cuckoo. When a guy cornered her on a question, she goes, well, let me just tell you something. This was done before. And when the vice president, she's explaining the process, which is already in place. She goes, and that vice president, which, by the way, when I was younger, I met him. When my father was in Congress, he came in office and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Why are you telling us a story? Nobody cares. Explain, tell the guy. But that's what she does. And then she tries to bring it full loop. And she's like, and he was at this podium at one time. And you're like, Nancy, where are you going with this, dude? Your dementia is setting in with this woman too. It's like, they're crazy, man, all of them. And you had Nadler standing up there and he crapped his pants on stage. And people are like, oh man, somebody get him some Depends. That's how old, I hate that it's ageism I'm talking about, but this is how, man.
Okay, I think we're out of control.
Yeah, so these people are
officially, we're out of control. We have violated every single rule that the Lillian McDermott radio show stands for, because, you know, it is again, Pimpy, this is a distraction. We have a very serious problem. We have the moral fiber of our country is being attacked.
Oh yeah.
Just October, starting October, my channel has even been more censored about things I posted 6 months ago, a year ago, you know, that has been there for all this time. They're taking away monetization. They're doing all this stuff. And this is just the beginning. So many people are concerned, like, you know, some of the questions, first of all, I have to laugh at one of the questions that was asked on my, when we were live. One of the questions that was asked is how to get rid of the car loan, because people are counting on, I'm going back now to this NESARA where they talk about forgiveness of debt.
Yeah, debt.
Hilarious when somebody answered, pay it off. You see, we are just wanting everybody to take care of us, that we are willing to let go of our rights because we have been indoctrinated that we cannot think beyond what we believe we're capable of.
And that's scary what you're saying.
Yeah, we're just like parrots. We're repeating whatever we're being told. And we know that in 1981, William Casey, the head of the CIA, said, we will know, and this is a quote, we will know when the disinformation program is complete, when everything the American public believes is a lie. But it's more than that. They've exceeded that. It's the world. The whole world is saying the same thing because they're controlled and manipulated by the same group of people.
And the media, but it's not just here. You got to understand that when I watch news, I don't just watch news in the United States. I watch it literally from around the world, Australia, the UK, you know what I mean? Because you get a kind of an idea what's really going on. And you have these same liberal media people pushing the same agendas worldwide. But what they're not showing you is that there's these spontaneous or a little bit more organized Trump rallies around the world. All right. They're huge, not small. They are huge. So again, it's hard not to bring politics into this because politics is everything that we're talking about. So the debt jubilee is now being talked about in other nations. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of them saying, look, if we're going to reset and do away with this, we have to have a form of debt jubilee.
Okay, so let's take that little snapshot of debt jubilee. One of the question was, or a statement that was made was talk about the Sandman. The Sandman. Do you know anything about that?
No.
It is, maybe I'm saying a straw man. I'm sorry, the straw man. Straw man. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the straw man and why they're saying NESARA GESARA is potential to forgive our debt. Can you share a little bit about that?
Oh, I don't know a whole lot about it, but I can tell you what is in regards to that, our birth certificates are involved. And then what happened was we were used as collateral to pay back a loan that went on for a long time to the Bank of England. And so that's where the taxes come in. And this has been going on our entire lives, but then it was abused. And so what they're saying is all the money that was unlawfully taken from us should come back. And that, this money was being held in a special type of fund. And that these people that magically own these codes. Once they put in the codes, it releases the funds to everybody, at least here in the United States. I don't know about other countries if they have the same situation as us, but this is the type of chatter that gets people will take with it and they'll run with it. They really believe
without any research. Without any research. So here's the, when you hear about all this stuff, you think about 9/11, a lot of people lost their homes and their properties. And look at the housing crisis. A lot of people lost their home and their money. And now, right now with the Rona, everybody's, there's a lot of people that are losing their houses and property. And so they're saying that this was orchestrated to take away everything, to take away the middle class. And as this is happening, we have got to wake up. We've got to turn off the television, watch shows like Pimpy's. And by the way, you can find him on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter, and it's Pimpy's Investment Chat or The Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes. And you will, and I love your honesty, Pimpy. I love your honesty. When my brother told me about you, and I'm like, I'm listening to a guy named Pimpy? I don't think so. But you became a part of my morning routine. I would listen to you and it made some sense. And some of the things that you say, I would go back and I researched it. And you leave the links on there so that people will do their own work. But I have to tell you that there was a conversation you and I had privately. And I said, but what if, because a lot of people think that Trump is trying to corrupt the banking system. And if he were to do something like that, because everybody knows the secret that's what's happening. Those people that are, QAnon fanatics since 2000.
Crash the system, not corrupt it.
Crash it. Oh, that's to me. Okay. That's what I meant to say. Crash. Okay. So crash the system. That somehow the enemy, to me, this is good and evil. This is good versus evil.
Yes.
And we're seeing it reveal. And there's going to be some people that are being swept into the evil. And there are people that are going, whoa, this is just like, I can't stand for this anymore. So when you're hearing this and you're believing the stories, and I'm not saying I do or I don't, I'm just saying that there are people that believe these stories, that this is what Trump is doing. And I had said to you, but what if the QAnon movement is made as a distraction to keep us focusing on a savior? But when we know that there's only one savior, there's only one God. And so what did you say to me? Do you remember what you said?
No, not off the top of my head.
No, you said, but then we're screwed.
Yeah, look, I said this in my videos, and that is this. We better hope that Trump is the person we think he is, because if he's the boogeyman, we're definitely screwed. There's no doubt about it. The things that he's doing using the Federal Reserve along with the Treasury is They are buying up. So people can't, under the CARES Act, you can't get your house foreclosed on. What ends up happening is from Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, our government is buying your loans. Just people are like, oh, debt forgiveness, great, good, let them. But the problem is now, what do they get for that? If they're taking your loan in, do they now own your property? Because if so, you understand they own something like 58% of all the properties, plus your debt. Who's got to pay back that debt? Do they pay it off? Good, thank you. I don't want to pay the debt. But you know what? What does that mean? Do they own your debt? Are they going to come after you in a different way? The fact that, Blackstone came in is the corporation, because technically the Fed can't buy assets like that. And so they're using the treasury to pump out as much money as possible. And you got the Blackstone buying up corporate debt, corporate bonds, stocks, artificially pumping up the stock market to keep it afloat, to keep the economy from crashing. So this is really, really serious. And it's very dangerous. If Trump doesn't win re-election, then we literally just handed everything on a silver platter, no pun intended, to the Great Reset. Now they have everything they want under the Biden administration. If Trump is reelected, we're going to find out if he's the boogeyman or not. Because, well, actually, I think it's going to happen before the elections. The revaluing of gold and silver has to be done sooner than people think. I think it's going to be done a lot sooner than people think. But that would free a lot of people. It really would, in a lot of different ways. But anyways, like you said, yeah, I did say that. I said if Trump ends up being a boogeyman, we are really screwed, because of all the things that he has done to try to protect corporations, protect the American interests, could easily just be flipped, going in the opposite direction if he ends up being the boogeyman. And that's what we got to watch for.
Yeah. And I'm going to take a little break here, because I want to take a moment to acknowledge, for all of you who are watching, we normally don't have this kind of conversation, but because we're so close to an election, there's certain things that people need to know about. You make your own decision. I'm not trying to say I'm pro or against it. I'm actually about informed choice. This is about taking ownership and responsibility. And so I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, because as Pimpy and I have been discussing, there's a lot of censorship going on. And if anything happens where you come on and we're not on the air, just know that you can go to whenyouneedafriend.com to find us, subscribe, so that you know what our next move is. We're very grateful to YouTube and Facebook for this platform, but we don't know what we don't know. So please, and also subscribe to BitChute, because we know that that is a place where they're not censoring us now. So please go check that out. And while you're at whenyouneedafriend.com, check out my shop bag now, where we have opportunities for Keep Me Safe Organics, First Alternative Care, which is telemedicine for $19.99 for the entire household. We have the Pharmacy in Merritt Island, Live Longer Medical, affiliate programs, where if you help, because we're losing our sponsors because of what's happening in this world. And so we're relying on the generosity of the people. So please become an enrolled student in the classroom, donate $1 or $1,000 a month, whatever you can afford to do is very greatly appreciated. You can click on and check on to the enrolled student, and you could either be a recurring donor or a one-time donor. You can do that at PayPal at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. Whatever you do, help, whether it's support some of our sponsors or support us, the classroom, by your time, talent, or treasure. We greatly appreciate it. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com and become a subscriber. That's where it all begins. Okay, so Pimpy, there's a lot that's going to happen. We've got 5 minutes before we go to the teacher's pet. We spent a lot of time there too. Maybe we'll answer some of the questions that are being asked at that point. But I want people, or not just people, our friends, our family, our loved ones, the people that we don't even know will be in our life in the future. I want you to send them a message about the importance of this election. I have never been so involved in the election than I am now. But I want the real election. I don't want the fake fear mongering type, where, they're saying that they're going to turn off the electricity and that this is going to be a rigged election and all of that. What have you researched that we can research ourselves that will help us see that our vote does really count?
Well, it's going to count this time. There's no ifs, ands, or but about it. But here's the thing that people got to understand. This election, I used to say, oh, Republican, Democrat. No, I'm past that now, because this isn't about Republicans and Democrat. Nobody out there in their right mind could tell us that that's the same the JFK Democratic Party. It's
No,
not.
it's not.
They're no longer the Democratic Party. They've been hijacked by the progressives who are pushing us into socialism. All right. And if people are not awake to that very fact, you're going to lose the very things that you love most about this country. Your traditions, your culture, the way of life will all be gone. There's a reason why this nation is full of different immigrants who came here legally and made it the great nation that
Legally,
it is.
yes.
Yeah. So, they came here for a reason. And now, they're out there fighting with Trump because they came from socialism. They fled socialism. They know what happens under communism. So, does your vote count? This is actually going to be an election of good versus evil. There's no exception to it. That's what it is. It's left versus right, good versus evil. This is, without a doubt, you could go to my videos and see the Great Reset. I did videos pointing out the things about the Great Reset and the direction that they want to go into. So your vote is going to count. If you don't go out there, you're going to end up regretting it if things don't go the way you hope it does. All right. The other side is, if the other side was correct about what they were saying, then why do they feel the need to censor the other side? You understand why censor? Why lie? Why manipulate? The only people that have to do that are those people who are being dishonest about who they are. And that's what the left is. They're being dishonest about it. And then they're censoring or suppressing opposing opinions. And that's how you know which side's the right side.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we never in history have we quarantined healthy people. Never in history have we used a mask when we've had worse pandemics around. Never in history has there been so much hate and disgust, and the behavior is just not acceptable. And never in history have we blamed one person for everything that's wrong. I have never seen so much hate towards a person. Now, I'm not saying that, not even Satan gets that much hate.
No, he's celebrated on the left.
He is celebrated. The Satan is celebrated. They're celebrated with pornography. Think about it. Essential alcohol. Just
marijuana, alcohol.
Yeah. Pornography, essential. Those are all things.
Normalize pedophilia on Netflix.
That's right. And not only that, they're trying to lower the rate of consent in California, or did they do that already, Pimpy?
So what it is this. So when
hold on. I get so lost in you. Okay, so we're going to continue our conversation after the podcast. So those of you who want to join us ever in the future, just know that we're live. And thank you, Pimpy, for being a part of today's classroom in this live conversation. But we're going to continue our conversation with the teacher's pet and answer some of your questions. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Lee Freeman wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Yay!
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Okay, so this is a distraction. I've said this many times. I have not finished my thought. This is a distraction, and whether Trump is real or not real, if he's really truly loves America and he really wants to protect us, and this is what he's doing, or even if he's not. I really do believe this is a time for us to be right with God. We have got to learn, because you and I have talked about the God of the church and the God of the Bible, the original Bible, not the edited version of the Bible. And so I'd like for you to share, because I know that you have, in the NESARA and GESARA videos that you've done, you talk about our spirituality and our relationship and walk with God. There was a question last time that you were on that was specific about your belief. They wanted to know what you believed when it came to Jesus as the Son of God and the Savior of the world. So I'm just wanting to start with that, because I think our relationship with God is probably, and getting right with God is so important right now.
I think what people need to understand is, again, this is just my opinion, the importance of building your personal relationship with God away from the church, away from the Bible. Now, don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean, I'm not saying don't go to church or don't read the Bible. What I'm saying is that there's a relationship outside of those that is needed. You should be talking to God every day as though God were sitting right next to you, because people don't understand there's a lot more revealed to individuals who have that type of relationship, things that are very eye-opening, mind-blowing. You know what I mean? This is just a relationship that's developed over time. I think it's interesting, though, when you try to explain it to people, they automatically go, "Oh yeah, that's the devil, the devil." And you're like, "Oh my God, no, it's not. It's different. There's nothing. It's nothing like that whatsoever." But at the same time, you can also, people think this is crazy, but you also establish a relationship with Jesus, because when you do talk to God, or when you do talk to Jesus, the conversations are different. The way things are responded are different. So I can have a conversation with God, and what happens is I can have an entire conversation, questions and answers. It seems like instantaneously just put into my head. And it's like, wow, that's like a half day's worth of conversation. It feels like that just happened in 1 minute. Then there's times where I'm asking questions and you won't get any type of immediate answer. That's because it's not time. It'll be revealed to you later on, because sometimes it happens for me like years later. All of a sudden I'll hear something, see something, I go, I remember asking about this. I see the answer. It's that type of relationship. Where Jesus, for me, it's different. When I'm talking to Jesus, I jokingly say the artist formerly known as Jesus, because Jesus' real name is Emmanuel, which is the God in you. So it's not Jesus. And so, but I say Jesus so people can relate.
It's like saying Father as God, because God has no gender.
Well, here's the thing. So the Hebrew word for father is the same as source. So that's why they say God is your heavenly father and your biological father is your earthly father, or your heavenly source, or your earthly source. So the words were mistranslated, or there wasn't the right word. So when we do all these translations into different languages, you got to understand that some of these languages didn't have the same words to describe something. In some cases, there were no words. So trying to fit in words where you think they fit is what actually shows you that the Bible is flawed. You know what I mean? Because it was written originally in Arabic. So it's original language. So again, words did not exist then that exist today that can change the entire meaning of anything that you read, and why it's important for you to establish your own personal relationship with God away from those things, so that when you go to read them, you start trusting and relying on your relationship with God to help you with the interpretation of what you're reading, and that's anything in life, not just reading Bible, but any type of experience that you're having. There's times where I'm reflecting on my day. I'll sit and have a conversation and say, well, this probably could have went a little better if I did this, or you know what I mean? Or I'll hear, you probably could have done a lot better if you did it this way, But again, as far as people want to know, I don't consider I don't follow any man-made religions at all. None. I'm not a fan of any of them. I just trust my relationship with God. I've had it ever since I was a child. I rely on it tons. People want to know if I'm Christian or whatever. And no, I'm me. I'm not a. Sorry about that.
I don't know how that
Somebody keeps
happens.
trying to call.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah. So when it comes to religion, my faith base is I absolutely 100% believe in God. I know that God exists. It doesn't matter if do you believe. I know God exists.
Mm-hmm.
I know the person that people would call Jesus, and I talk to them religiously. So, I trust in my relationship with those entities. I guess you want to call them or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, and I
No,
don't
I
have
appreciate you. I appreciate it because somebody apparently wanted to know that, and I thought, this is truly a time that we need to be right with God, and it's the God,
Yes.
not necessarily of the church, or it's the one of the original Bible, the one that was inspired, that we learned about the character of God, and we've got to kind of shift with the mindset, and that's one of the reasons I'm doing this workshop, because many people don't want to. We talked about how much people hate Trump, but don't hate Satan as much as they hate Trump. And we've become lovers and affiliated with all this violence and murder and all that. So we just really need to kind of change the mindset so that we can understand the things of God too.
Well, I think it's interesting that you look on the Democratic side, they want you to fall in love with material things. They want to give you money. They want to give you free things. You know what I mean? Focus on these things, where Trump's saying, love your country, love your fellow American, love your fellow human being. You know what I mean? Which is a different message altogether. And just whenever I'm moody or something, I want to mess with people from the left, I say, come on, Trump is the chosen one. His father's name is Christ and his mother's name is Mary. How much more of a sign do
his
you guys
father's name
need?
is Christ?
Yes, it is.
Who would
His
name
middle
a
name.
child? Who would name their? Okay, well, that's
So his father's middle
totally.
name is Christ.
Well, for another class session. Okay, so that completely threw me off there. Okay, so
Oh, it'll drive people crazy who hate Trump. They're like, but it's the truth.
well, we really do, and I think that that's a very important thing. And then, we're just fighting amongst ourselves, and we just need to end the violence, end all of that, and not believe everything we see on television, because there are crisis actors. There are crisis actors, and you would. But by the way, Pimpy, you would love Dr. Day and the Bible study that we're doing. I know that you are so busy, but that you have access to all of it. You've already signed up for it. You have access for everything, and you would absolutely love what she's saying. She's pretty much in line with some of the things that you and I have talked about in the past, and it would be wonderful to get your feedback on that. Okay, so we have some questions about cryptocurrency. And you had mentioned that, China is buying all the silver they can find and that things are being inflated. Let's talk about cryptocurrency. And let me see, I had the question earlier and it kind of went away. Let me see if I can find it. How important is cryptocurrency is the question.
I'm worried about cryptocurrencies, and the reason for that is this is just another one of these indoctrinations, I think, for us to start accepting the central banks' new version of the Swiss system. So what happens is they introduce the idea of cryptocurrencies. People get used to them. I think it's just a smoke screen. They want us to get all hyped up on these cryptocurrencies, thinking you're going to be the next millionaire. I think what you're going to see happen is, and you're already seeing it happen now, and I said this would happen, they'd find a way to regulate it. They'd find a way to get their nosy hands into everything and monitor everything you do. And what I mean by that is all of a sudden now you're seeing platform after platform after platform that deals with digital currency, getting the owners are getting busted for money laundering, fraud. So what they're going to do is to say, okay, we can't have all these platforms. Let's narrow it down. And they'll make rules and change it. Next thing you know, you have all these cryptocurrencies that are being hacked, stolen, busted for one thing or another. They're going to start going, okay, look, we can't have all these different cryptocurrencies. We're going to need to narrow it down to one. That's what I think we're going to see happening. Is this was just a way to get people used to using digital currencies, and mass awareness is the introduction of cryptocurrencies. And then once people for the most part, most people are aware of cryptocurrencies. Again, this goes back. The other part of this is going to be the universal basic income, in which you have to have your central bank cryptocurrency. So again, they're just slowly introducing people. That's all it is. It's just an introduction. I don't trust it. Already you're seeing Christina Lagarde go, well, we certainly can't have just a digital currency without the fiat currency, because people are already raising hell saying you're not going to push us into 100% digital currency. She's like, oh, no, that's not working. No, that is exactly what you're going to do. They're going to lie to you. They're going to have them go side by side until you're using the digital part so much that you won't use cash that often. But here's the thing. We've already been doing digital banking for how long? You have an ATM card. I could do wire transfers. I could purchase anything I want over the internet with my ATM card. There's no difference. So tell me then, what's the purpose and the need of this so-called digital currency outside of the fact that it's just another control mechanism that they're going to use on us? Now you're going to catch all kinds of flack from those people who worship cryptocurrencies. They think it's going to end the control of the government. It's decentral. No. They're already regulating it right now. So what do we see? We see an article where a decentralized token like Bitcoin, right? They were able to track down and arrest hundreds of pedophiles off a website that was on the dark web. Now keep in mind, the dark web is supposed to be secret. The government's supposed to not know what you do on there. Bitcoin's decentralized. The government's not supposed to know what you're doing on there. But yet they magically were able to bust a lot of people off a dark web website that used Bitcoin, and it went and arrested the people using the Bitcoin. So don't say it's not monitored. They're monitored. They keep track of everything you do.
Well, not only that, but they're talking about this currency scenario that if you don't get the vaccine, you will not be able to have your money. If you, there's certain, they're going to come to a point where if you don't pledge allegiance to their God, then
they already said so outright. The security, the general security, I guess it was, and it was the early 2000s, somewhere along there. He just told people point blank, look, it's going to get to the point now where you have to worship our God, and we're Luciferians. He said it. He didn't even hide it.
Who was this?
I have to find out where I have to find a quote. I'll share it on a video, but he did. He came straight out. He goes, and our God's we're Luciferians. So, he just smiled about it. He says, you don't have a choice. It's already too late. Okay, so you're right. So now, for those of you people who are spiritual, talk about the book of Revelations, getting the mark of the beast and the whole 9 yards. You got to keep in mind that the chip was put into the vaccine until people raised hell that Bill Gates had. You know what I mean? It's literally in there. And what they were going to use it for, they said, is contact tracing. You see how the Rona is tied into everything else? Well, it's for your safety.
Yeah, we're giving up our freedom for safety. Yep. We're giving up our freedom for safety. And people think it's okay.
They do, because what happens is, just like 9/11, they use fear to get us to give up our rights. We should start taking back those rights. Don't take the vaccination.
Don't.
It's less than 1% chance of you dying. It's not even a half a percentage. So
it's 0.0002 or something like that.
And that's it affects the elderly people more than anybody else. So if you're under the age of 70, you have a 99% chance of survival. 99%.
Pretty good odds.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could talk all day. I've got a coaching call that I have a client that I've got a coaching call, so we won't be able to go longer today. But
no problem.
Pimpy, I really do appreciate what you're doing, because we have gotten to the point that we've gotten too lazy to research our life. Yeah. We're leaving our life up to, as you know, my registered service mark is you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. And it's not.
But that's not even a word.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that's not even the worst part. You need to research now. You want to know why? Because now they're censoring. So now it's getting to where you can't even do research.
You can't.
Because they block and suppress opposing opinions.
But they're rewriting it. They're rewriting it. They're rewriting it. And so you can read truth that is a lie now.
Yeah.
We've got to, and that's the question. In the center of belief, there's LIE. And so we've got to come clean with ourselves and say, what is the center? What's the lie at the center of our belief? And so what if everything I believe was a lie?
Yeah.
But what everything I believed was a lie is truth. So we have got to shake things up and start researching,
It's time now.
not just research what they're being told in the media, but research what we talked about today. Research about what we talk about in the past, the present, the future, whatever it is. But we have got to take our life and our health back, because we've learned that this vaccine that they're creating has artificial intelligence. And if I please don't quote me on this one, but and I believe that it's called that it'll actually get its way it'll rewrite the DNA to the point where now you are artificial intelligence and they can own you. This particular thing, and it's called Luciferian. It's something Luciface or something like that. I'm going to have Dr. Lorraine Day come on, and she's going to be sharing, but it's so blatant.
Biometrics, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, it's so blatant out there. So we have got to stop, get outside of our comfort zone and protect our life, protect our future, because we really don't know what we don't know. And so, like I said, the registered service mark is, you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. Now's the time more than ever before to take ownership of our life and not give up our freedoms because we're afraid of safety. So I hear someone's trying to get a hold of you. It's a little puppy. Yeah. Let's see your little doggy. Puppy. Is he there?
McLovin?
We've been hearing Lovin? McLovin. Oh my goodness. We've been hearing, is it a boy or girl?
It's a boy. The girl next door is in heat. That's why you hear him crying. He wants outside, so yeah.
I wasn't expecting that turn of events. But anyway, I am so grateful to you, and I'm grateful. Let me see if you have any more questions. I don't see any more cues. And for those of you who are watching Pimpy at, again, you can find him at Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes on Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Actually, I don't know about Twitter. You have your own Pimpy's Investment
Just
Chat?
Pimpy on there, yeah.
Pimpy's. Okay, so we have so many different ways. Okay, so it's a Pimpy's Investment Chat, and then there's the Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes, and that's Facebook or YouTube. And check out the information. He is someone that I just absolutely love to listen to, and you make me smile. Even though some of the stuff, Pimpy, that you talk about are it's difficult. It's very difficult to talk about, because especially with the Iraqi dinar, it just seems like we're kicking the can and kicking a can. Everybody's chasing the can, kicking the can, chasing the can, kicking the can.
You can thank other YouTubers for that, who keep misleading people with dates and rates. And I'm like, you guys got to be careful with that, because there is nothing out there that says what these people are saying. So I'm the bad guy, because I have to tell the people the truth. I'm just got to make sure that they understand and that we stay grounded. It will happen. Give it time. You can see a lot of great things happening right now. So I'm looking forward to
from your mouth to God's ears, because God is the only one truly that can save us. So I hope that this will encourage everybody to pray to the one God and ask for God's intervention in the hearts of evil, because there's a lot of evil out there. And we have got the good people of this earth. We have got to send prayers and pray for our leaders. It's biblical. We need to pray for our leaders and ask for their hearts to be softened so that they can truly do God's work. So thank you so much for watching today. And I'm looking for our next conversation. So hold on.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me say goodbye to all of you.